Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator, Chapter 139. I know who she is. Please stand, Hiccup said. The fireworm stood. Hiccup lifted his hand, palm out towards the dragon. He heard Toothless warble and knew his brother was explaining. Soon he felt dry scales press into his hand. They were warmer than any dragon that did this, and Hiccup smiled. Fishlegs would love to know that. Hiccup also could not wait until his friend left the nursery and noticed the new fireworm. Hiccup turned back. He smiled. The dragon, like every dragon that did this, stared at him with half-lidded eyes and purred. Hiccup lifted his other hand and scratched the fireworm's chin. The purring grew louder and the dragon pressed closer to him. Toothless gave a pointed warble. The fireworm stepped back, her muzzle leaving Hiccup's hand. She chittered. Toothless grunted. Moondust trilled something, and Hiccup bit back a snort as Toothless's sensing lobes twitched, and he crooned something that sounded apologetic. Hiccup moved to his brother's side and leaned in close to whisper. Whipped. Toothless cut his eyes at Hiccup. Hiccup, straightening, snickered before stepping to Moondust's side and scratching her cheek. She cooed, nuzzling into his hand. The fireworm chittered. She says thank you, Alpha, for allowing her to remain, and she will return to her siblings. Moondust translated. Hiccup tilted his head. Wait, he began. Would you like to learn the common tongue, so you can speak to any human without needing a translator? The fireworm tilted her head, and then smiled and chittered. Yes, Moondust translated. Alpha, my flock leader has aided several of the nest dragons to learn or better use their common tongue. She could help. Hiccup smiled. I'll ask her when she arrives. He lifted an eyebrow. Though, do I ask her before or after Toothless tries not to shake in his scales as he sputters out his question? Brother, an Alpha acts with decorum, not this. Oh, no, dear brother, Hiccup said. You brought this on yourself. I'm only sad Sharpshot's out with Sneaky right now and can't join me in paying you back. Toothless turned to Moondust, a pleading look upon his face. Moondust just chortled. Hiccup cackled. The fireworm chittered, sounded questioning. Knowledge and wisdom answered her in the old tongue. The fireworm trilled a laugh. Toothless huffed and shifted down to stare the path to the wooden walkways. Wings flapping had everyone looking up. Shadowfire and Stormfly hovered over the plaza. Shadowfire glided to land upon the hill and lowered his belly so his mother could get down. The terror remained upon Shadowfire's back. Hiccup saw Gita murmur something to the small dragon, and frowned when the terror nodded its head and stayed on Shadowfire's back. Stormfly, who along with Astrid, Snout-Snout, Hook-Fang, Quick-Cut, and a few of the other nest dragons had been out on patrol, landed. Astrid dismounted. She glanced at the fireworm. Hiccup caught her raised eyebrow, and he held up his hand, palm facing Astrid, and made as if to push something a short distance in front of his body. Astrid nodded, catching the message. Hiccup grinned. As Toothless recovered, and they had been forced to do walking patrols, Hiccup and Astrid had come up with some hand signals to use as communication between the riders, human and dragons alike. This one asked her to wait. Hiccup's grin grew as he also realised Astrid had understood that he meant he would tell her later if she waited right now. She traversed across the plaza to stand beside him, and Hiccup saw her smirk. She leaned down and whispered something to Moondust that had the female Night Fury giggling. She straightened just as Gita joined them. Gita, Hiccup said, sorry to disturb your meditations, but I needed you here. The oldest fireworm youngling has grown up. He smirked when Gita snorted. She wants to learn the common tongue. Sure, Gita answered. It'll be fun to teach a royal. Huh? Hiccup asked, head tilted. Gita gestured to the fireworm. She's smaller than a fireworm queen right now. This earned one such as her the name of Fireworm Princess. However, a variant of that was called Royal Fireworm because they were green and yellow. No one really knew why. The fireworm trilled. Moondust responded. The fireworm chittered. She says her ancestors said a tiny fireglow that bound to a non-tiny fireglow alpha or queen turned this colour so others could tell the difference in a queen that ruled over her hive alone, or one whose hive has the protection of an alpha or queen's nest. Moondust translated. The fireworm trilled again, bowing to Hiccup. She apologises, but she must get back to her siblings, Moondust said. Shadowfire and I can come by the cave later to help her learn the common tongue. Hiccup nodded his acceptance, already knowing Gita would seek it. All of his friends made it a point now to seek his approval on many things when he was surrounded by others, human and dragons alike. But it had been Astrid and Gita who started that. Moon just chittered to the fireworm, who stood, tipped her head to Gita, then rose into the air. She banked around, heading for Raven's Point. So, brother, Hiccup said, lowering his gaze back down to Toothless. Do you have need of me and Gita? Toothless grunted, padded over, and bowed, but did not spread his wings to Gita. Flock leader, I request permission to court one of your flock. Gita tilted her head. Have you spoken to my daughter? Aye, flock leader. Gita turned to stare at Moondust. Daughter, do you accept this one who comes before me? Do you wish for him to court you, or do you wish that I run him off? I wish for him to court me, Elder Gita. Gita snorted. Gita, Moondust. You are flock now. You are my daughter now. Call me Gita. She turned back to Toothless. Rise, young male, Gita said. My daughter has accepted your advance. I grant my permission. Toothless cooed and nuzzled against Gita's arm. Gita giggled. Silly, she muttered. You're breaking the seriousness of this. Toothless shrugged before turning to Hiccup. He bowed, but this time he spread his wings. Alpha, I've spoken to one of her nest and received her permission, and the permission of her flock leader, to begin courting her. Do I have your permission and blessing? Sure, Toothless, Hiccup said, smiling. Toothless stood, lifted his head, and roared. The dragons still in the plaza and many in the village all roared as well. Toothless then moved to Moondust's side, and with a smile, placed his wing over her. Moondust cooed and rubbed her cheek against the side of his neck. Hiccup smiled. This calls for a celebration! Stoic's voice bellowed over the village. Miss Son's finally seen sense, and decided to give me grandsons a worthy and beautiful mother. Hiccup chuckled as his father moved into the plaza from the walkways that led down to the docks. Toothless grunted, and Hiccup's chuckles turned into a full belly laugh as Stoic walked closer and stared down at Toothless. Told you so, son, Stoic said solemnly, but Hiccup saw the twinkle in his eyes. Stoic then placed his hand upon Moondust's head. You're a sweet lass. Welcome to the family. I'll be knowing, just like Astrid and Sneaky, that you'll be keeping Miss Son in line. Stoic stepped back and clapped his hands together. We shall hold a feast! Before you do that, Gita began, and Hiccup instantly knew something was wrong. I need to speak with you and your family, sir. Away from listening ears, sir. Stoic stopped and stared at her. You sound as if stones be cascading onto your shoulders. Gita took a deep breath. It's about the human in Pepper and Piper's old nest, sir. I know who she is. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Oh boy, so yay! Moondust and Toothless did everything properly. And I love that bit with Gita saying that she is her daughter now. That's gorgeous. Cool little bit about the fireworms as well. And oh boy, that bit at the end. I love that Stoic's so happy about this, but this is going to shake things a little bit. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.